task can prove very difficult with those tiny lines. Sorry, I'm gonna do my best here. Thirteen. And just scroll so I can see the top part, please. Again. I will stop there. Again, I have to tally those tally line. I think out of 29, I find 10. That is, again, I was 1350. That's been a long time ago. That's about 10. Yeah. I think I jot down 10 that is below the 1350. That's somewhere for me. Yeah.
Okay, that are non-black and or non-Asian, correct?
It's you mean that is non-black? Yeah, that are white. And I believe I saw, I believe if I don't see an Asian, yeah. Yeah, exactly. Well, that are white. So yeah, I get the point. Yeah. That is below 1350.
All right. So at this point, I want to draw your attention to respondent exhibit number 5.
Okay, so this is exhibit 5.
All right. So, Mr. Michael, showing you exhibit 5. Do you recognize this document?
Yep, if you can go back again, because I see J. Lefford. So I guess with that signature, that will tell me the investigator. Yep, the initial investigator.
Okay. And this is a letter that the investigator at the ERD sent to you, correct?
Yes, that's some of the correspondence.
Yep. And in this letter, this investigator was asking you to supply the ERD with additional information, correct?
It is very likely. I don't read all of it. Yeah, but that sounds familiar. They ask for further information. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And it's dated, it looks like November 19th, 2018, correct?
Yes.
Yep. And you did receive this, right?
Yes.
And the first question on here, so you can see it on your screen here, ask you to specify allegations of discrimination that occurred to you on or after September 16th, 2017. Is that right?
Oh, hold on. Yeah. 1 second. Okay. Yeah. It
Okay.
asks to specify allegation of discrimination that occurred to you on or after September 16, 2017. Yeah.
Okay. And you responded to that question, right?
I do believe yes. I don't have it in front of me. I respond to those. Yeah.
Yeah. You've been writing, correct?
I think, yeah, that's how they will receive it.
So, Judge, if we can go down to the very next exhibit, which is exhibit number 6. All right, so showing you what's been marked as exhibit number 6. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, it is appeared that I'm addressing the investigator.
Okay, and this is a document that you submitted to the ERD in response to exhibit 5 that we were just going over, correct?
It will be so if in that sequence. Yeah.
So that's a yes. Is that right?
Oh, yes. Yes. Okay.
All right.
Well,
Oh, thank you. Thank you. And were you truthful when you prepared this document?
Yes.
Okay. And on the first page of this document, if you scroll down a little bit, Judge, it looks like we have your response, the beginning of your response to question number 1 in Exhibit 5. Is that correct?
Say that again.
No, no problem. So, Judge, can you go up just a little bit in this? Okay, maybe just a little bit more. Okay, right there. Yep. So on the first page of this document, we're looking at Exhibit 6 again.
Mm-hmm.
This contains the beginning of your response to question number 1 from Exhibit 5, correct?
There is a response there. Again, the exhibit numbers, I can keep track of them, okay, attorney? Again, yeah, but that's my response, yes.
Okay. And this is your response to all the acts of discrimination that occurred after September 16th, 2017, correct?
This will be my response to the question, yeah, to the every inquiries from the investigator.
Okay. And under this section, you reference Chris Morris allegedly making discriminating comments against you, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you also reference on the next page, Chris Morris allegedly wearing a black hat at work that you believe was discrimination against you, correct?
It is innuendo of it, yeah.
Okay. And there were no other items listed here as discrimination after September 16th, 2017. Is that correct?
So what's the date again you mentioned here, sir?
September 16th, 2017.
September 16, 20, September 26, 2017 or September 16?
September 16th, 2017.
September 16, 2017. Were there any other type? To the best of my recollection, again, I did not jot down the time when those things said to me. I don't have a specific date. So it is on or around those time.
Okay, but on this document, in response to a specific question from the ERD about discrimination, you are putting that issue in this case following September 16th, 2017. You only list 2 incidents with Chris Morris. Is that correct?
Should I read this? Is that okay if I read this?
Yeah, go right ahead. Go right ahead.
Okay. And I can start with C or because it wasn't C.
So you should start with
I think it starts with B, where it says in response to
thank you.
discriminated act occurred on or after September 16,
Oh,
2017.
yeah, because the C was in front of me with September 26th, the date. So yeah, let me just read this and then to give me. And I will read it a little bit loud, okay? So I can keep track. In response to discriminatory act occurred on or after September 16, 2017. Mr. Moss, whom I work with regularly and who had made several discriminating comments in my presence and toward me, has incessantly making comments how he personally does not like immigrants and always making innuendo of as to my immigration status, mentioning only in the U.S. Only in the U.S. Since only in the U.S. citizens have to compete with both legal and illegal immigrants. Mr. Moss, whom through his word and action and with support he finds from white colleagues and whom he calls Americans who were born here, has made the work environment an ever hostile for. Let me just go to that date because again, the September 16th, sir, I type these things. I'm not a good typer. I'm a pecker. With those dates, it's likely I meant the 26th, okay? Because for some reason,
No, it's not, Mr. Michelle, because you're responding to a question on Exhibit 5, and I'll show you Exhibit 5. And
okay,
the investigator specifically asked you, question 1, Also, please specify allegations of discrimination that occurred to you on or after September 16th, 2017. That's where that date is coming from.
Okay. And is that date then originated from my complaint? Isn't that right, Judge?
That date is originated from the date 300 days prior to you filing your complaint.
Okay, thank you for that clarification.
So then in response, here is your response to number 1. And so that's why you're referencing in response to the discriminated act occurred on or after September 16th, 2017.
Okay, and thank you for the clarification. It's been a long time. This has been imposed. Again, I'm trying, it's everything here. So, yeah, so my response to that question is, the question is, what other act that happened afterward? And that's what I mentioned here. Thank you for that. That's happened so long ago. I'm just
Right.
going by memory here. So, yeah. So, yeah, in that case, based on when I write that, that's the intent. Yes, yes, thank you.
And to answer Attorney Bullock's question, you put 2 examples here. What you started to read, and then I started to move on, and
Okay.
then what you put as C. Those are your responses to that question, correct?
Yes. Yeah. Mhm.
All right. All right. So it's clear you had a, concern about Chris Morris, and you listed that concern here, correct?
Yes, to the best of my ability, that's what I transpose. Yep.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
Now, Mr. Michelle, you worked, as you testified earlier, initially at the bank at its Green Bay Festival Foods branch, correct?
The East Branch, yeah. We
Yeah, the
call
East
it,
branch.
that's
Okay.
why
All
it's
right.
called.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
while you were at this East branch, you had some conflicts with Barbara McDonald. That's correct if I heard your
Yes.
testimony earlier?
Yeah.
Okay. And you also had some conflicts with Kyle Paulson, correct?
Yes.
And eventually you were transferred, as we talked about earlier, to De Pere. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. And that transfer was around March 2017, maybe February 2017.
Let's
Is
say
that right?
16. Again, I'm bad with the dates here. The transfer was 16, I believe. It was based on what we went over earlier with, it was 16, 2016. Based on information, what we went over earlier. Against the date, I remember they can be confusing.
Yep, you're right. Okay, so you went over there in around March or February of 2016, correct?
Yep, that's what it
Right.
is. Yep.
And this was an opportunity that Nate presented to you?
Yes, after my complaint to him, he mentioned, would you be willing to work at the DPO branch permanently? And I welcome it. I say
Yeah,
yes.
it was kind of like a fresh start, right?
Well, you can, if you ask me to respond that, yep, you can call it, of course, it is a fresh start. But also, as I take it, is that with the continuing hostility that I was getting, physical attack and complaint after complaint, and of course for that last minute that I sent, that was a resolution that Associated Bank take. I mean, they give it to me and I abide by it. Yeah, I have to
Okay.
abide by it. Yeah, I did
Okay.
not feel safe. Yeah,
All right.
over there.
All right. And I'm just gonna ask, I'm gonna be really nice about it. That you, kind of answer my question directly. Um, so we can move on. So you accepted that invitation to move to another branch, and I think in your complaint you said immediately. Is that correct?
Repeat the question, Counselor.
Yeah, no, you immediately accepted the transfer to a different branch. Is
That is
that,
correct.
okay?
Yes.
All
Yeah.
right. And while you were at this second branch, you had some conflict with Chris Morse, correct?
At some point, yeah.
Okay. And you received notice that another employee had complained about you engaging in sexual misconduct or making sexually themed statements to you. Is that correct?
That allegation was made.
Okay, all right. So by my count, you had conflicts with three, maybe four uh, different employees at two different locations. Is that right?
If you were to count it, as you say, as your count, again, I have to count. I'm not going with your number. Barbara McDonald, uh, Mr. Moss, Kyle Paulson, that I specifically put down as aggressors, as making those act. And of course, with my detail, I did mention also other people that join him, but more pertinently to that people that join him is, of course, Rachel. That's working under the influence of the people around him, pretty much everybody that's around her. Yes, if we count those numbers that way. So yeah, I
All right.
mentioned these people.
All right. And Judge, if we can pull up respondent exhibit number 14.
This is Exhibit 14.
All right. So showing you what's been marked as exhibit number 14, I'm going to represent to you that this is a email from Kyle Paulson to Nate. Do you see this?
I'm seeing it. Yep, in front of me. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and this was in fact an email from Paul to Nate. Is that or from Kyle to Nate, correct?
That's what it shows. It's an email from Paul Carlson to Vandenbreden. Yes,
Okay, and this was sent on January 23rd, 2016, correct?
that's what it shows. Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any reason to dispute that this was not sent to Nate on January 23rd, 2016?
Not the sending part. What shows before me. Yeah. I'm not disputing it was not sent.
Okay, all right, all right, all right. And this concerns an exchange between you and Kyle, correct?
I have to read through that.
Okay, go ahead. Take your time.
Okay. Yeah. What I read here, I didn't read loudly. I know you know what it is. This is it is from Carl to I acknowledge that, as you mentioned earlier, it's from Carl. I object to all that. This is totally not factual. This is from Carl, yes, but that's made up stories. There's
Okay, and that wasn't my question, but let's get to my questions.
okay.
So in this email, Kyle reported to Nate. Well, number one, let me back up and ask the original question. This concerns an exchange between you and Kyle, correct?
That's incorrect.
It
That's
doesn't.
incorrect. That didn't happen. That's why I go with that explanation. Those
Okay.
what's in there didn't happen that way. So it cannot be, yeah, it can there's
Okay.
a lot of things that's why I want to answer that way. That is no, that is incorrect.
All right. So in this email, Kyle reported to Nate that, quote, after the customer left, he, meaning you, started yelling at me because I told him to call Tim for the okay. Is that correct?
That is incorrect. I follow every protocol to do my
Right.
job. Every
But that's
step.
not,
Yeah, that is incorrect.
yeah, so that's not my question. My question is simply that, isn't it true that Kyle reported this to Nate?
Oh, yes, with the email in front of me. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. And
Yes.
isn't it true that he also reported a little bit further down in here that quote, he, meaning you, continued to yell at me on the teller line because I don't need to help him. He knew what he was doing.
He, of course, reported that in the email. That's
Okay, all right,
certainly
that's
it.
all I got. And if we can, Judge, at this point, go to exhibit number 16.
Okay. Okay, here's exhibit 16.
And I take it,
So,
Mr. Michael, you will want to or need to spend some time to read through this. It's a lengthy one.
I can certainly, it will be best, exactly, to refresh my memory of everything. Again, yeah, most of the things, especially. So, okay. Is that bother anybody if I read a bit louder so I can keep track?
No, it's fine with me if it's okay
Okay,
with
yeah,
you, Judge.
it's
it's
helped me
fine.
to the small line to keep track where I'm at, or I get lost.
Okay.
Okay, on 1/24/2016, Willie was cashing a $12 rebate for customer Marcia. He was having difficulty getting the check to run through the scanner. I noticed this transaction was taking a long time and that he was scanning the check, looking at image detail, canceling out of the transaction completely, and starting from the main screen to start the withdrawal process again. After a few times of witnessing this, I mentioned to Willie that he can just go through the same process he was doing. The customers was getting impatient. Carl came over to help Willie scan the check. He tried several times, and I tried a couple of times. The check finally went through. Willie asked the customer to take her ID out of her wallet, and she showed her ID and said, I have 6 accounts here. I know my account number. Willie said he needed her ID out of her wallet, which she did. It was taking Willie a long time to pull up her account. She again said she knew her account number. He continued looking for her account. She got upset at the length of time the transaction was taking. And at this point, she said, then give me the check back, which he did give her the check back. I did jump into the conversation. And said, Marcia, I can help you. I held out my hand for the check, which she placed in my hand. Marcia is a customer I do know and comes in often. She came over to my window and I scanned the check. It did take about 3 times for the check to go through the scanner. Willie had her ID still, and he tossed her ID at me, which landed on the countertop between me and my keyboard by my right hand. I pull up Marcia's account by looking up her name because she could not say her account number correctly because of her being upset. She did joke about it. She has always been able to tell us her account number without any issue. I counted out the $12 and thanked her for her patience. After Marcia left, Willie after Marcia left, Willie said he need to talk to me. I asked about what. He said we needed to talk in the office. I went to the office and he sat down and proceeded to yell at me, claiming that I hit him, demonstrating on his arm that it was an open hand hit. Claiming that I hit him, demonstrating on his arm that it was an open hand hit on his upper arm 3 times. Then he said I pushed him. None of this happened. I told him I did not. He continued to yell at me and that I do not respect him and I do not talk to him like I do Kyle. Okay. I try to explain that I try to help him and does not listen to what I am trying to help him with. Willie continued to yell at me. Kyle came in and told Willie to stop yelling at me. Willie denied yelling at me. Kyle said he could hear him at the teller line. Willie then said he will shut the door. Kyle said no, he will not. He was not going to let Willie continue to yell at me. And he should go to the teller line. Willie pulled his phone out of his pocket and said she's going to call Nate. I went to the teller line upset. I ran the McDonald's deposit with my hands trembling and trying to fight back tears. Willie came up and said he was going to email Nate. I finished the transaction, which Kyle helped with, and Kyle told me to took a walk, told me to take a walk, to calm down, and he will cover the line. I walk outside, wipe my tears, and regain my composure. Then back to work. Willie has argued with me before while trying to coach him, but never to this level. Usually, the arguing he does is when you try to coach him. He does not want to hear what you are saying. For example, yesterday a customer asked, yesterday, yesterday a customer asked, was depositing a check for her daughter. She asked if she needed to sign her daughter's check. Willie did ask me. I said no, because her name is not on the check. He turned to the customer and said, it does not matter. After the customer left, I explained to Willie that it does not matter. Only the person on the front of the check can sign. Because if someone ordered on that person signed the check, can get refused by that person issuing the check. He argued with me and said that did not matter if the mom signed that check because the mom was on the account and it was being deposited. I told him that the person or business that wrote out the check does not know that they can refuse to pay the check. So we need to make sure we are getting the correct person to endorse the check so it does not get returned. If it is being deposited, we can stamp it or they can write, or we can write it, I believe, so they can, but we can write it for deposit only. He then said that it does not matter if mom signs because she's on the account and it is being deposited. This type of arguments never stop because you won't accept what we are saying. You won't accept what we are saying, okay? There are many examples of this. Willie has even raised his voice at customers on the phone. Case in point, a customer called on Saturday. Kyle and I were with customers at the teller line. Willie answered the phone. Willie kept telling the customer he has to call an 800 number, getting increasing louder. The customer standing in line waiting at the teller line looked concerned. I turned around and asked Willie if he needed help. He ignored me. I finished my customer and went by Willie and asked him to put the customer on hold. He did. I asked him what the customer needed. He said the customer said he thinks there is something wrong with his account. I said, okay, how about you help Al? How about you help Al? How about you help Al, who just stepped up to my window, to parentheses. He needs to cash a check and I will see if I can help the customer on the phone. I pick up the phone and it was a new customer, Howard, that Mike had just opened an account for earlier in the week. He explained that he was getting a loan and verify his account and verify his account. I explained that anyone other than him that calls to verify the account has to call our telephone banking. Did he need that number to give to them? He said no. I asked him if there was anything I could help him with on his account today. The wanted account, the wanted the wanted to make sure his account was okay. So we went through the transaction that happens since he opened up his account. He was okay with those transactions. It was difficult to hear because the line was noisy and there was someone else talking in the background. I asked him if there was anything else he needed. He said no. Phone call ended on a good note. This situation showed that it is just not impacting the team and making it difficult for us to work with Willie. But it is also having customer impact as well. I am unsure if this will continue to escalate and if I should be concerned about opening or closing an account. And I think Barbara signed this one. That's all the reading. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So this is a statement from Barbara that discusses an exchange and some interactions between you and her, correct?
On the very top, that's an email that I can acknowledge. It seems like Barbara sent to Nate Vanderweddering. That's an email.
Okay, all right. And in this document, she indicates that you yelled at her, correct?
I do believe that I read that too there. Yeah.
Yep, and you dispute that you yelled at her, right?
This whole statement is fabricated.
Okay.
I'm gonna put it that way. I know that what this is. Yeah, it's fabricated.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So you dispute this statement. Okay.
Oh, yes.
I get it.
Totally.
So, you know, despite your dispute, this is what Barbara reported to Nate. Is that correct?
Yeah, and I believe in the date that was the same date of my complaint of physical assault. Those came out, right? If we check on the date on top.
Okay. Yeah, and the date on the top looks like it was January 24th, 2016, correct?
Yeah, because it sounds familiar. One thing regarding the Kyle holding the door on there. So yeah, exactly. So yeah.
Okay. All right.
I dispute all that.
But now if we could turn to exhibit number 17.
Okay, so this is exhibit 17.
Okay, so showing you what's been marked as exhibit number 17. Do you recognize this document?
I can see, yep, signed by Michael Tenhaken. And yes, I've previously seen those in the document that's submitted to me through the process. Yeah.
And just so that we're clear, this is a statement from Michael Tenhaken, correct?
That is correct.
And you're mentioning this statement, correct? And if you need to read through it, you can.
I can certainly say yes. I see my name mentioned in it. Yes.
Okay, and this is dated for February 5th, 2016, correct?
I'm not seeing the date on that one. Probably it's upper, but
Under his signature.
here we go. Yep, that's the date he put down. Yes, I can see the date that he put down. Yeah, which is the 5th of February. Yeah.
All right. And who was Michael Tenhaken?
I do believe his title, it was one of the either universal or relationship banker. It's right there. One of those two.
And he worked at the bank with you?
Say that again, please.
He worked at the bank with you?
Yes, at the East Branch, yes.
Okay. And in his statement, Mr. Hacken indicates that you raised your voice towards Assistant Manager Samantha Hughes, correct?
That is incorrect.
In this statement, he does not say that you raised your voice towards Assistant Manager Samantha Hughes.
I have to read it again. I know I went through that if that's the case. I thought you asked me if that's true or not.
No, I asked you, did he
It's
say
in
that?
there. I have to read it then, sir.
Okay, go right ahead.
Okay. Yeah, if you want, yeah, let me read it. So, that's addressed to Nathan that I can see that document. It said, I just wanted you to be aware of a situation we had in the branch today. I was in the back office with a new customer opening a new checking account. When from the other office, I heard loud arguing. I looked up and I saw that it was Willie Michel raising his voice toward our assistant manager, Samantha Pius. I could hear that the nature of the argument was over names in the bad pig. Bad pig, I give something like that. Yeah. And the exchange was becoming increasingly louder and aggressive from Willie's end. It got to the point that I noticed my customer on 2 occasions turn her head to see what the commotion was about. At that point, I had to stop our conversation and go to the other office to close the door to shield the customer from being exposed to any further unpleasantness. I thought that I would bring this to our attention because it is definitely not the image we as a team would want to leave with our customers new and existing.
Okay.
So I think his question was about the statement in there about you raising your voice towards Samantha Pius.
Yes, I read that statement. It is a peer. Yeah, that's what I just read. That's what
Yep.
it's. That's what it
And you
is.
deny, or do you deny that you raised your voice towards Samantha Hughes?
I unequivocally deny all that.
Okay.
Yeah.
But this was what was reported to the bank, right?
Yes, that's what I reported here, as you should.
Okay. If we can go to exhibit number 21, Judge.
So this is exhibit 21 that's on the screen.
Yeah, but before we start discussing exhibit number 21, Michael Tinhanken, which bank branch did he work at?
You were talking about the East Branch then. That's where it was.
Okay, so that was Green
The
Bay.
first branch where I was with Nate, under Nate, yeah.
Okay, all right. All right, so looking at exhibit number 21, do you recognize this document?
Beginning with all the document that I received, it is a pure familiar. Some
Okay.
communication between Moss, yeah.
All right. And these are emails from Chris Morse to Nathan Vanderbranden, correct?
I can see that, yeah, from Moss, dated September 26, 17, yes.
Okay, and it looks like there's 3 emails in total. So the first one is from Chris Morse on September 26, 2017 at 3:47 p.m. The second one is from Nathan to Chris that same day at 3:52 p.m. And then the last one, which is at top, is from Chris to Nathan on September 26, 2017. Can you just take a minute to read through the the second email, so the one that's the original email at the bottom? Yep, up a little bit, Judge. Yep, this right here.
Okay, I can certainly do that. Uh, what I'm reading here, it's from Mr. Morse to Nathan and Megan, September 26, 17 at 3:47. Good afternoon. Just thought I would mention a quick note. Really might mention it too. I've had several discussions with Willie, who has raised his voice to me and told me to not do things with regards to customers and him trying to make sales, but at the same time doing them to me. I had a customer who came in to open an account last week. As I was starting to interact with her, Willie cut me off and told me he would help her and then sent me to count his money. He had put straps on, and then She told him she wanted to open an account. I am not I am not super frustrated with the points. However, I don't appreciate when he raises his voice with me. Today, he didn't appreciate something I did with a customer he thought was going to open a credit card and took me into Megan's office, closed the door, and began to lecture me. I said understood, and he kept reiterating his point. He has had conversation like this numerous times with me. He raises his voice, and I say yes, and then leave. Today, he raised his voice to me again. Then, as I told him I need to leave the office, I was starting to get stressed out. He pursued me into the open bank branch and continued to yell at me and verbally assaulting me for doing something wrong. I asked him to stop yelling at me, and he raised his voice more. I just wanted him to stop and hope that by doing so, it's going into the main part of the branch with the girls that he would. I had to go into the other office and close the door because he would not stop pursuing me and yelling at me. I want to be a good worker, but Megan has never yelled at me or threatened me, whereas Willie has yelled at me and got well within my physical boundaries, almost face to face. I know he will likely mention it to you, but it was rather scary and I didn't know what to do. Sorry for making your job harder, but I needed to say something. Also, last week, it was brought to my attention, and Sue, I believe that meant Sue as well, that he had made sexual advances toward Rachel, saying he could satisfy her in a sexual way now that she was nearly single. Sue, and I had a conversation, and I didn't know what I was supposed to do. I have attached Sue to this because I am sure you will want to ask her too. My teacher said that if that was brought to my attention and I said nothing and something ever happened, I could be held liable. So I'm adding this to that. I'm extremely stressed out at this point and feel extremely unsafe in my current working environment. Sorry for the length. I will be leaving earlier today because Rachel and Sue said it was okay, but I don't like being yelled at and threatened over and over.
Okay, thank you. So this all concerned an exchange between you and Chris, and then there was reference to an exchange between you and Rachel, correct?
You have to phrase that question for me and exactly what you're asking me. Are you asserting
Okay. Yeah,
that?
no, I'll break it up. That's fair.
Yeah,
That's fair. So this was in part regarding an exchange that Chris was reporting between you and him, correct?
that is a report from Chris to management to Megan, I believe on top. Yeah, that is a report from Chris to management. Yeah,
Okay, and then as Chris reported to management that he's had several discussions with you in which you raised his voice, correct? In which
that's
you
not
raised your
correct.
voice.
Those statements are not correct.
So Chris did not report to management in this email that
I, I acknowledge to that. Yes, that is a report, a complaint that he made. Yeah, that is a complaint itself. Yeah, I acknowledge to that. That's a complaint.
okay, yep. And he also complained to management that, quote, today he didn't appreciate something I did with a customer he thought was going to open a credit card and took me into Megan's office, closed the door, and began to lecture me, right?
That his complaint. Yes,
Yeah, yeah. And his complaint is also that he tried to indicate that he understood, but that you kept reiterating your point. Is that correct?
that his complaint.
Okay, all right. And he talks about you pursuing him and yelling at him as well, correct?
That his complaint.
Okay. And you deny all of this, right?
I do.
Okay, but this was reported to management, right?
It was reported.
Okay. Okay, Judge, if we can pull up exhibit number 4.
Okay. Okay, so this is exhibit 4.
And this is a 2-page document. Mr. Michael, just take a quick look at it, and I'll ask you first, do you recognize this document?
And I do recognize that. I have seen it, yes, with the
Okay.
communication that's sent to me from Mary Codington. Yes, I recognize that document.
And this is a letter that the bank sent to you on October 13th, 2017, correct?
It is, yes.
Okay. Regarding your employment with the bank?
Yes, my termination.
All right. And your employment with the bank was eventually terminated, correct?
Yes, I believe, yep, that's what that letter,
Yeah,
concludes.
and this letter summarizes the reasons the bank gave you for terminating your employment.
I
Is that
do
correct?
believe so. Yes, I do believe so.
And then prior to your termination, you were suspended, right? As a bank
Yes, I was
investigated.
suspended first.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. As a bank investigated the issues with Chris Morse in September of 2017.
Yes, that.
Okay. Okay. And that suspension was with pay, correct?
I was first. Yep, that's my recollection.
Okay. Now you allege in this case, Mr. Michelle, that you were retaliated against, right?
Yes.
For reporting discrimination or harassment at the bank. Is that right?
Yes.
All right. And you allege that one of those reports of discrimination you made was to HR in February of 2016, correct?
Yes.
Okay. You talked about that complaint earlier today, correct? As part of your testimony.
Earlier, yep, we discussed some of them. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. And that complaint involved your working situation with Barb and with Kyle, correct?
My complaint involved that. Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Huh?
Um, so at this point, Judge, I would like to pull up exhibit number 18.
Okay.
All right, so we went over this. I think this may already be in evidence or will be in evidence, but this is the complaint material that you supplied. And within this, there's looks like an introductory email. Is that correct? This first.
Yeah, to HR. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. And then the very next page in this document is the email from Barb using Kyle's computer that you talked about earlier, correct?
That is an attachment. Yes, that I put with that complaint. Yes.
Okay. And then the following pages are the summary narrative that you provided to support your complaint
It is.
to HR.
Yes.
Is that correct? All right. All right.
Yes.
Now, I want to take a look at the first page of this entire exhibit, which is the email, and point your attention to the last 2 sentences in the first paragraph that start with "I have also talked." Can you read those 2 sentences?
I'm trying to focus it out, okay, on the instruction you gave me. So if you see
Yeah.
me slowing down a little bit, it's
No, it's
the
fine.
are we talking about the 2 second below paragraph?
I think
Yes, on the
he's
first
talking about
paragraph. Yep,
this
right there.
First
paragraph, the
paragraph,
last 2 sentences.
just the last 2 sentences. Okay, yeah, those instructions. That's what I'm trying to follow to it. So if I were in the however,
No, starting right at, so it's that line, but starting at "I have also talked to my store manager."
oh God, let me find it, okay, sir. Okay,
Right
I
here.
think I see what you're saying now. You want me to read from there? Yep, I have also talked with my store manager, Nathan. Nathan has made great effort by addressing the issues by talking with each colleague separately, including myself.
Okay. And when you wrote that statement, you were being truthful, correct?
Everything that I say to the best of my ability are true. I definitely true what I say. The context would be different that you're trying to take it, but yeah, but everything that I say is true. I
Okay. And you were truthful in your summary narrative as well, correct?
Where is the summary?
It's the pages following the email.
This page here starting.
Yeah.
Okay. Starting on this page, that's the summary.
Yes, that's what you testified to earlier, that this was the statement that you provided, that you typed up and provided with your complaint, correct?
Yes, it does. Of course, like the question is true. Yep, those are true. Yep, true statement that I put there. Yes.
All right. And this summary outlines all of the harassing treatments you allege you received from Barb and Kyle, correct?
To the best of my recollection at the time, yes, that's what I put in there.
Okay. And in this summary, there's no mention of your race or your national origin or your color, correct?
I don't believe I did put race in there. I don't
Okay.
believe so, but I don't read the whole. We didn't read it, but I don't believe I did put a race in there. That to the
Okay.
ERD that I mentioned a race. Yeah.
Yeah, but you didn't put your color or your national origin in there either, did you?
No, I
Okay.
don't believe so. No.
Now, Ms. Michelle, you allege that in your December 8th, 2018 statement to the ERD, which was exhibit number 6 that we talked about earlier, that you were terminated because you complained to your manager, Megan Vanden Wetteren, about discriminatory comments from Chris Morse. Is that correct?
If that's what you read, yeah, that's the intent and the context I want it to be interpreted. Yes, that I.
Okay. And is that your position in this case?
Yes, yeah, as my complaint in shift, that's what it is.
Okay,
That is why that, yeah, exactly. That always
okay.
getting gets me. Yeah.
Okay, but Megan wasn't involved in the decision to terminate your employment, correct?
I couldn't tell.
So you wouldn't have any basis to dispute um, a representation that Megan was not involved in the decision to end your employment at the bank. Is that
I
correct?
couldn't tell if she does or not.
Okay. Um, Now, you also indicated in your ERD complaint, which we've gone through, the judge has gone through, that you met with Jeff Schofield, division manager in an HR business resource, who I think you testified earlier was Nicole Gorky, shortly prior to your termination. Is that right?
Yes, that was my last meeting at Associated Bank prior to my termination.
Yeah, but you recorded that conversation, correct?
I believe yes. I had somewhat of a recording.
Okay, and that was done secretly, right?
Uh, well, I would say yes. I did not tell them I was recording it.
Okay. And then I think your ERD complaint, you allege that during that meeting with Jeff and Nicole, you expressed concerns about being discriminated against. Is that accurate?
It is accurate. That is my intent. That is our intent. I want to explain at that meeting.
Okay. So is it your position that during that meeting you said that you were being discriminated against or harassed on account of your race, your color, or national origin?
Not exactly those words. I was trying, the main importance of that meeting, I was trying to keep my job. I was cautious to meaning anything like this that would show me as a, I guess, you saw what I mean, as an opponent. Yeah, I was very
Yeah.
careful not to, because I was fighting for my job. I was trying to get my job, to keep my job.
Okay. So you made no mention of race, national origin, or color discrimination or harassment during that meeting, correct?
I don't believe so. Those words came out of my mouth. I don't believe so. Again, I have a recording, but yeah, no.
Okay. Now, you recall taking a deposition in this case, right?
Yeah, you submitted to a deposition, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
And during your deposition, you claimed that every single problem you have ever had at the bank was based on your race, national origin, or your color. Is
I
that
can't
is that
I
correct?
can't recall all those statements, but that was my position in general. In general, I remember what I can remember with some question in general, that's what happened. Those happened to me because of my race, color, and national origin.
And just so that we're clear, your position as we sit here today is that everything that happened to you at the bank um, that you had a problem with was based on your race or your color, your national origin. Is that correct?
Yes, in the totality of everything, it is because of that. It would have been different if I was another nationality, another color, etc.
Yeah,
Yes.
and this included the situation you were speaking about earlier with Chris Morris and him wearing a hat.
Yes, everything we talk about, yeah, Mr. Moss so far, every act, yeah, exactly. It's had to do with that.
And this would include the situation that you spoke about earlier with the email from Barbara when she was sending it from Kyle's computer and it was about a free logo. Do you
It
think
is
that was based on your race as well or your color?
again, the email is singular. It is part of the whole ensemble, not just that email though, but you got to say it with the broad way. But yes, it is part of it as a whole.
Okay. So any conflicts, any disputes that you had with Barb or Kyle at the Green Bay branch, you believe was based on your race, your color, or your national origin. Is that right?
Please repeat that question, okay? I
Yeah, no problem. So any thing that happened to you that you had a problem with Barb and Kyle at the Green Bay branch, you believe was based on your race or your color or your national origin.
everything that I complain based on Miss Barbara and Kyle is because again all the issues because of my race, nationality, and origin. It would have been different if I was white or any other type of nationality. It would have been different.
All right, and at this point, Judge, if we can turn back to exhibit number 5.
Oh, okay, I think this is exhibit 5 that's on the screen.
Okay, wonderful. Yep, that looks like it. So Mr. Michael, we've already gone over part of exhibit number 5. This is the um, request for additional information from the ERD dated November 19th, 2018. I want you to take a look at this and I want you to read into the record request number 6.
Okay, let me scroll down there.
You want me to read that?
Yep.
Yeah. For each time you were harassed because of your race, color, or national origin, provide date, name, title of harasser, specific conduct, comments, and your response.
Okay. All right. And then let's turn to exhibit number 6, which is your response to these uh, questions from the ERD. And in particular, let's go to page 5 of 8.
Okay. Okay, so there's page 5 of 8. And there's a 6 here, so I'm assuming that would be your response to question 6.
I do believe so. It will match 6 for 6, yeah.
Okay.
All right. And the number 6 is it reads, it says, in response to question for each time I was harassed because of my race, color, and national origin, provide date, title of harasser, and specific conduct.
Okay.
Correct?
Yes.
And you wrote this document, right?
Yes, it disappeared. Yeah.
Okay. And here you list all of the acts of harassment, and it's on this page, 5 of 8, and it goes into the next page, 6 of 8, correct? At the top.
So this is 5 of A. That's 6 of A. Do you see that?
Yes, I see. I can see them. Yes.
Okay. All right. And in this space, and if you need to take some time to read this to refresh your memory on what you wrote in response
Okay.
to
And
Deirdre's
again, I will
request.
kind of again to stay quite awake and with the small line. Okay, I will try to read for you as you request me, starting in 6. In response to question for each time I was harassed because of my race, color, and national origin, provide date, title of harasser, and specific conduct. I did not jot down specific date. However, a release to at least all of my email to manager Nathan would quantify how many times I sent email to Nathan regarding Barbara McDonald and Carl Paulson, mainly using profane language against me, shut up, yanking items from me, to the point I have to awkwardly placing things on the counter so he does not get yanked from me, physically push me aside from the register at the lobby counter. These episodes occur on a daily and minutes by minutes and also in front of regular customers that seems to know. My action to this harassment, I report to Nathan. I talk with these colleagues of why they are being hostile to me with no positive result, with no positive result. These incidents began early from the first week I started on location at the East Side branch. In the evidence, I submitted my original complaint. I think we should hang on. Is that right, Counselor?
No,
I think the
you
judge,
keep going. We're going to the top of the next page.
well, the judge is not there. That's why I stopped.
Oh, I didn't realize I was looking down and reading too.
But
Yeah,
she's the
let's
one
hold on.
here.
Let's hold on. Let's hold on. Let's hold on. And are you guys seeing that too? She has
She got a
orange.
question
Yeah.
mark, an exclamation mark. That's usually, a small issue probably. Folks, while that happened, I guess I've been drinking water. I'll take a quick break. Okay.
Yeah, I will too. That's a great idea.
Yeah,
Um,
as that happens, she'll be back here, I believe. Yeah.
and Mary, if you're on when the judge comes by or back, can you let her know that we took a quick break to go to the restroom? Oh, dear. Okay, here she is.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I didn't lose you guys, but apparently you couldn't see me. So I could hear and see everything that you guys were saying.
Okay, all right. Well,
I'm
that's
not
fine.
sure where Mr. Michelle went. He's not appearing at this point. Looks like he muted himself out.
Yeah, he just went to the restroom, so
Okay,
yeah, if it's
that part
okay.
I didn't hear.
So I'll go as well if that's okay. And
Sure, we could take a short break.
okay, thanks.